welcome back to Safety Harbor Scott. I'm Scott Long, and it's been a couple weeks off. I did a little trip to Georgia, as I mentioned, and then a little technical difficulty last week, but I'm happy I'm back. I know I'm upsetting all 14 of my subscribers by taking 2 weeks off, but we're back, and we have a really fun guest this week. My good friend Sue LaGree here. She's the creator of Harbor Music and also Remax real estate agent, by the way. But the Harbor Music Facebook page, which is a great resource to find out all the great music in town that's going on every night. So welcome, Sue. How are you doing?
Thanks. It's great to be here. This is a fun studio.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I'm going to do my best here. Speaking of music, I was at the Skid Row show last night.
Oh.
And my first time at a hard rock show here, and they do not make that for old people.
Good to know.
They went on at 10:30. I got home like at 1:30.
On a Tuesday? Oh,
yes. And I know you had a lot of music fun last night, too. We'll talk about it at Coastal Cantina.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do my best to keep the energy up here.
Okay.
But I'm on Skid Row hangover here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so first of all, tell us a little bit about Harbor Music, the Harbor Music Facebook page, just so if folks haven't seen it. And I'll put a link to this in the show notes, by the way.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So, they always say, right, necessity is the mother of invention. And I love live music. And I, came to Safety Harbor. I've been here now almost 5 years, full time. And people would ask me, because I'd be out and about and, posting something on Facebook, people started to get to where they would call me and say, hey, who's playing in the harbor tonight? So I'd start to have to go through basically, 12 websites to go, I don't know, who's at Whistle Stop? Who's at Barfly? Who's at Tiki Tavern? And it was a pain in the neck. And sometimes I'd miss, somebody great that was in town because I was, elsewhere. So I thought, man, there should be one place where people can go. And that was my big thought that day.
I absolutely agree. And trying to do my Quas 34695 app, I'm trying to keep up on everything, not just music. I can only imagine. And I have...
Yeah.
And I steal your stuff too, so I thank you for doing that part of it.
No, I don't know how you keep up with everything else. Honestly, that is a good point.
I do not do a good enough job, but it's difficult. And it's a tiny town too. Can you imagine a big city? It's crazy.
It's a tiny town with a lot of activity.
Now you come from what I'll call a musical family. Maybe you'll disagree. Your brother Dave owns Tiki Tavern, which is one of the
and he is passionate about live music.
Very much, always live music there.
Yeah.
And your husband Kevin is our famous Billy Idol here in town. Right?
And that only became that was born at Nolan's Pub.
Okay.
Sweet Lick basically pulled him up on stage, and that was born. So this town, it just does something very magical, musical.
It really does. And then his son Emerson is playing every night now. It seems like
it's pretty cool.
He had one gig every couple of weeks, and then now it's
really
every
cool
night, right?
to see actually that he's the only. We've got 5 kids between us.
Okay.
So Kev had 2. I've got 3, all stayed in New England when we moved down here and said, bye, kids. And but Emerson graduated from UConn a couple of years now and is the only one that said, I'm going to come down and give this a try. And
that's crazy.
He is just become started out sort of helping out when Josh Plumber was busy or double booked. And then it's just grown and he's got his own little following now. He actually just got a call back for The Voice.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's hot off the press.
Look at that. Breaking news here.
We're waiting to see. Basically, we're at this point where he's either getting flown out to LA to perform in front of the judges or not.
Okay.
But he's gone that far, so
well,
it's
let's
pretty
hope it's
cool.
a former. That'd be fantastic.
I know, right? Yeah.
So, all right, so you mentioned at the beginning when I asked you about what the Facebook page was all about is that the music here in Safety Harbor is so special. So, and I have this conversation almost every day with someone because I have been here 21 years now. There was no music.
Wow.
21 years ago. None.
Wow.
Not a single thing. Wow. And then now it's third Friday there's 14 bands playing in town. So
it's incredible.
What do you think makes the music so special here in Safety Harbor?
So it's a neat experience, I think, when something happens organically. I've heard people say that they were around New York City when these sort of a cappella groups, kind of sprung up, and even in New Orleans, it's sort of this takes on a life of its own kind of a thing. And it seems to me, my understanding or my feeling about it was there was some great music here and there, and then COVID hit, and everybody that seemed like was local and good went in and just got better. They just really focused on their craft, and then there were some pop-up which were, really cool too. I remember that was when Safety Harbor Strong was born, which saved all of us and gave us a link to town and such. But, and then I also feel like I have to give kudos to Keith Schwier. I do think that it seemed like there was a lot of that mentality of like, well, I'm playing, so you're not going to play. And Keith kind of came into town, I feel like, and really just started collaborating. And he plays guitar with this one and that one and this one and that. And it just, I feel like it just became that more of a open, friendly experience. And then more is actually, all the tide rises all the boats.
Absolutely
and
true statement.
I know I've been stealing this little phrase that Josh Plummer said, who needs Nashville? I'm like, yeah, man, it feels like this, like literally on every corner. And you're not paying for this. I mean, that's to me also, the restaurants are spending the money to do this. And it is just for you to come out and have a drink or have something to eat and be able to enjoy this really amazing talent we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
No, the collaboration is a great point because I've noticed that, and I'm not a musician, so I don't know, maybe this is the way it is everywhere, but I certainly notice it here in the harbor that that's a lot like with our restaurants. So it doesn't seem to be any competition when you think that there should be. They just seem to want to work well together. So certainly seen that with a lot You events, especially at our Lucchini event. Fantastic that people just come
It's
out.
Unbelievable, right? Yes.
All right, so you also mentioned that before you started Harbor Music, that it was really difficult to find out where all these things were. I'm guessing that hasn't gotten much easier now that you are trying to put it all in one place, right?
It's getting better, but it's funny because it is, some of the restaurants have given me, 3 months out, I'm booking. Some have given me access to their Google Calendar. That's the best. Because then I don't actually even have to transcribe and worry about, was it 5:30 or 6?
Right,
it's right in there and I copy and paste. But some of them, for whatever reason, I'm like, this is free.
Yeah.
I'm doing this to promote you, and they say they give me nothing, and then I walk by, and I'm like, seriously, I can hear music coming out of this place. And then people say, oh, hey, you forgot this restaurant, and I want to go. Trust me, I didn't forget. They've got to tell me themselves. I can't really hear third hand from somebody. So, but it's been a work in progress with some of the restaurants.
And I'll tell you what I do for the other events. I use Facebook events. It's so easy to search by Safety Harbor by week, and that's what I do every Monday for my other events. So that's a little tip for folks out there that want to get listed. I'm like, create a Facebook event in addition to your post.
Right.
But yeah,
good to know. Yes, that is.
I can only imagine how challenging it is for you. So thank you for trying that.
I love the funny story. Yes, I'm a realtor down here, but for 25 years I was an attorney up in Boston. But there was no reciprocity, so I knew I was not sitting for the bar exam. But I used to do divorce and real estate law. However, I always wanted to be a music promoter. I used to say, I'm really Don King inside. Yeah. So it is so funny that I've come down here and it's just been this absolute natural thing that just has sprung up. And I'm like, look at me. I'm kind of a music promoter. So
fantastic.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's a good way of thinking about it. All right, so I hate to ask this in the harbor. It's not very competitive, but it's like asking you who your favorite kid is. But do you have particular places that you really like live music, or are there different acts that play better in different places? Maybe that's a better way of asking.
Right. That's a good point. And it also depends on the weather sometimes, too.
Right.
Or what you're in the mood to eat, right? I mean, sometimes you got to have a piece of pizza. Actually, Jamie has got... Nona Slice has music 7 days a week. He's about the only one, which is amazing. So always a great default to do that. And sometimes I've had such really great times. In fact, I wound up there all afternoon long behind Barfly when they do, if the weather's right and they've got music out back there, kind of a laid-back Sunday. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of and honestly, that's something you could walk by Main Street and not even know what's happening back there. So... if I don't say my brother's Tiki Tavern, I'm going to get in all kinds of trouble, which I think people know. He kind of jokingly said, I always wanted to have a sports bar. And I'm like, well, you're a music venue with a lot of sporting TVs. So, and that is wonderful because there's an inside, there's the outside that's, covered. You can walk by and it's so you can't help yourself but hear the music. So, and then the little kind of off the side ones too, like the pub off of 8th and Coastal's a little hidden treat back there too. And then of course the Harbor Bar when he's got an event and Johnny does it like nobody else really in terms of just throwing it out there, spending his own money to just support some cause. They've got such a great big parking lot, and that just really feels like that's true Harbor.
Yeah, I always say Johnny has two speeds, 200% and 250%. So.
And then add his new Zimziki vodka.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I also like that somehow venues have like tried to like get their own theme of music. Maybe that's the wrong way of saying it, but like if you go to Crooked Thumb, right? I think it's definitely a different music vibe there.
Right.
Attracts a different crowd and also fantastic.
It's so true, and that makes me go, darn, I'm going to forget. You know, so Crooked Thumb has built a new stage. I mean, it's probably going on a year now, and that really stepped them up. I feel like bands now really enjoy being over there. It used to sort of just be in front of the front doors, and that's a really beautiful little spot, actually. Yeah, and then they have sort of the pop-up, really cool different food trucks, so you never know what you're getting. And then, I forgot to mention Troubled Waters. Yeah. They have a great venue, too. So I really think that, for me, you are talking 12 blocks up and down Main Street. You can't go wrong. Just really kind of make it a point to try each one. And we've even got a couple outside of Main Street that are doing a great job as well. Outpost 611 is doing a really great job with hiring local.
And do you have any insight on the new Phoenix owners? I haven't heard that yet.
No, Phoenix has been an
sounds like it's going to stay a music venue, but
I hope so. Boy, Rosemary did an incredible job inside there, and the walls that are set up and the sound system. So it'd be a shame not to.
Right.
Yeah, there's a blank spot where there used to be, so I'm waiting.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, so we're a little over on time here, but I do want to ask this last question, though. So the future of music in the harbor. So again, I go back to when I first moved here. I mean, music in Safety Harbor was Dunedin.
Wow.
Like everything, right? Yeah. And now it's like, it's every day. Like you said, at least Nona has it every day. Most places it's like 7 or 8 different bands.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? Does it get bigger or does it change?
To me, I feel like we haven't really even scratched the surface in terms of the outside world knowing. Us locals are like, ooh, you know, it's this hidden gem, but I still believe that there are people that come in from out of town. If anybody loves live music, I think there's room for them to know this is it's a little mini Nashville. Yeah. You got to come see it. It's a destination spot. And I can help them with real estate if they decide they need to live here.
I like the plug. Perfect. All right, now we've got to take a break here and do our little news, and then we'll go back and have our 5 Qs if you're going to hang out here for a little bit.
Sounds fun.
All right, our news this week is sponsored by Quaz Creative's new Public Safety Harbor storefront, featuring more than 90 Safety Harbor themed t-shirts and more. The link for that will be in the show description, as will the link to Harbor Music. This past couple of weeks has been busy for the commission. Mayor Joe Ayub and Commissioner Carlos Diaz have been sworn in for another term in office, and Ayub has named Commissioner Andy Steingold as vice mayor for the coming year. Also at their last meeting, the commission voted to buy the vacant land next to Coastal Cantina, which will be, at least in the short term, parking for downtown, which we very much need. And also coming up soon, very interesting with our topic today, Commission will be addressing 2 issues that are becoming higher profile: noise downtown, and also recycling. So stay tuned for all that. And as we mentioned, 2 Safety Harbor businesses have changed hands, as the Kitchen and Bar Safety Harbor and the Phoenix Lounge have new owners. So check those out. Things to do this weekend. Everything is busy on Saturday this week. Saturday is the Downtown Safety Harbor Hop and Shop with specials at select merchants all day. Also Saturday is the annual Paddle the Bay event at Waterfront Park, which is always a fun event. And the Safety Harbor Little League will host a fundraiser called a Hit-a-thon at City Park. And then Monday morning will be a tour of our city's amazing public art, starting at the Museum and Cultural Center. Definitely check that out. I spent 13 years on our public art committee in this town. Wow. So it was great to see. Just like the music took off in this town, art also took off in this town at the same time. So Monday's a great time for you to check all that out if you haven't seen it. And of course, we know lots of great music all week long. So check out Harbor Music for that, and also the Quaz 3469 app. All this stuff is on that app, which you can download for free at the Google Play and Apple App Store. Okay, so now is always my fun part, the 5 Qs. So as always, you've got 2 categories to choose from.
Okay.
If you've watched the show before, you probably know one of them. famous Hungarian violinist of the 1680s. Hey, it's musical theme. Don't get me wrong on that.
Oh.
And the other one is music.
Well, I'm not really up on my Hungarian violins. I mean, if it was harp, maybe, but I'm gonna go with your general.
I'm gonna write
music
that
tag.
harp. Yeah, okay. I'll work on harp for the next question. Okay. All right, so let's try music. Figured you might go there.
Look at sealed and everything.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm on the Ellen Show.
Everything to be a secret here. So, okay, here we go. 5 questions. First one's very easy. Your very first concert. I was actually talking about this last night.
That is
too.
a fun one. So you'd think it is easy. I have to say, really, it's 2, because does it count? My parents took us all to see Helen Reddy when I was 11.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is
I, mean,
I was like 7.
But my grown-up first teenage Boston Garden Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
was
first
pretty
concert.
blown away. Took all my money out of the Dairy Bank and Trust and started buying all his albums afterwards.
And Derry, this is a fun thing I found out about you this past week. My very best friend in the world graduated from Pinkerton Academy.
It's just crazy.
And she is the girl I travel around the country going to concerts with. So there's a musical tie there.
That's just
And then
bizarre.
her best friend also goes to some of these festivals with us. We're all getting together in May. And then I found out that you went to Pinkerton Academy.
Exactly, up in New Hampshire.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just, that's the harbor. Something about this town. It's crazy.
Bruce Springsteen, though, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, I had to, as a kid, Peter, Paul, and Mary, which I think is really funny because I don't think my dad understood the politics.
Wow, that's
Peter,
neat,
Paul,
though.
and Mary.
Oh, that's what a legend.
It's a fun show, but yeah, I'm trying to think of what my real show was. Maybe Poison. It might be good, but yeah. I always remember
Back
Peter,
when
Paul,
I
and
could
Mary.
get $25 seats, I actually saw Freddie Mercury play with Queen. I was like a sophomore in high school, and they were nosebleed, but hey, I was there. So yeah, those days are long gone.
Wow,
Yeah.
Springsteen though, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, cue number 2. Genre of music that you like that your friends might be surprised to learn that you like.
It's not country. Most of my friends like country, and as soon as I hear the twang, I'm like, I'm out. That's just sorry. That's the way it is. Except Frank Dancy. Damn, that guy. He's got such a great voice in town that I stay for his country music. So, I mean, they probably are not shocked to know that I love 80s. I love
80s?
70s.
That doesn't
you know,
seem like
the
shocking
disco,
to me.
right? I mean, that was
All right.
my era. So, but that's it. And I don't really love rap, so no, nothing shocking.
All
70s,
right, nothing
80s.
shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with classical. I don't sit around and listen to a lot of it, but that's certainly not. I'm a hair metal guy, right?
Right, well, that's
you
a
can tell
good
with
one.
everything around here, but
That's a good one.
but
Good
when we went to
point.
Europe, I mean, I would love to go to these little churches and listen to the
Yeah.
classical. That's
Yes, I do love
fantastic.
classical music as well.
I'm pretty sure no one would ever say I'm a
Good point on
classical music fan. All right, I'm gonna take a little chance on this one, but this has been a heated topic of debate in the harbor, so we'll see where we come down on. Best lead singer of Van Halen, David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, or Gary Cherone. But please don't say Gary Cherone.
No, I won't. I loved David Lee Roth. I mean, I remember seeing them in concert, and I had floor seats, and he came out with what I thought were leather pants and sang really close, and then turned around and they were chaps. Assless chaps. And I was young, and I was like, oh my God, I think that's the closest I had ever been to a naked male butt in my life at that point, so...
See, this is why
He
Tipper
stole
Gore
my
tried to
heart.
stop music. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I know Sammy Hagar's a classic, but I love David
Well,
Lee
it
Roth.
depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I answer this question. I'm Team Van Hagar, but I also
Hagar.
answer this question as David Lee Roth was the better showman, obviously.
Exactly. It's
And
true.
then I think Sammy was better musically. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for.
yeah.
But I celebrate them all. And I'm not just on a Gary Cherone either. Extreme is a great band. And I'm seeing them in May as well, too. But
Oh.
it just wasn't a good fit with Van Halen, I think, for one CD.
That's funny.
All right, cue number 4. A song that everyone else loves, but you cannot stand.
Oh, I know. Don't judge me, but anything out of Adele's mouth, I can't really.
Oh.
I know. Everybody loves her. To me, it's cat scratching, whatever it is. It drives me crazy.
Wow.
I have to turn the channel. I know. I know.
Wow.
I know. It's tough. It's
Yeah,
like taste buds, right?
It is.
I hate Brussels sprouts.
Or like cilantro, yeah. Some people like, some people don't.
Adele is not my gal.
Yeah, the opening act for Skid Row last night was like this really heavy hard metal band.
Oh, really?
And they did all covers, including an Adele cover.
Oh, really?
So maybe you like that version. For me, it's got to be. It's funny that you mentioned an artist rather than a song. 'Cause that's the same thing for me. It's Train. I do not understand
Train.
why people lose their mind over Train. It's like, drops of Jupiter. And I'm like, every time that comes on, I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. People like rag on Nickelback. I'm like, why are they not ragging on Train like they rag on Nickelback?
See, this is why there needs to be all these different venues.
Right,
Because
right.
really, it's true. Everybody's got different tastes.
Oh,
That's
man.
funny.
Train. Yeah. All right, so final cue. I thought about how I want to word this. So I'm going to say the way I had it, but then I'm going to reword it a little bit, all right? So the band you wish you'd been a groupie of growing up.
Oh.
Now, I'm not suggesting what groupie really means.
Right.
So let's say if you had the opportunity to tour
Right.
with a band when you were in your formative teens, how's that?
I like that. So you saw Almost Famous, right?
Of course.
I mean that.
I would love to have been Cameron Crowe.
Right? That was such a great movie. So I really was obsessed with Springsteen. My buddies will tell you that. I mean, I drove to New Jersey once, decided to do like Asbury Park, just anything he ever sang about. So, I mean, I really probably would have to say I should have been on tour with him because I worshipped him.
Not a bad
Through
one
high
at all.
school, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little tough for guys to say in a true traditional group because there's not a lot of
Yeah.
female bands.
Right.
For
Oh,
us.
Heart though. Ooh.
Heart would have been a good one. Obviously, you see my office here. Everything's 3 to
This
4
is
here.
awesome.
So I really should say the Runaways.
Ah.
But if I had to choose, I'd probably gonna go with the Go-Go's. I was just in love with all the Go-Go's.
Yeah.
And they were such a fun band, and they did all their own music.
Did they really?
People don't really,
Yeah.
you don't think about that when you're listening to music, whether they actually do their own, write their own songs.
I think
play
I
their
did
own
some
instrument.
cheerleading stuff to the Go-Go's.
Oh, you have to. We got
But
the
I think
beat,
you
we got
should
the
be
beat.
able to say that you wanted to run away with the Runaways.
I
So.
again, I should.
That's just. That's
Well, I'm
gotta go.
trying to run away with Lita Ford now when she's in her 60s and I'm in my 50s. So
Well, she'll be easier to catch.
I'm certainly easier to catch.
Yeah.
All right,
I like those. Those were fun.
yeah, not too bad, right? All right, well, thank you for joining us again, Safety Harbor Scott. Again.
Yeah. So you're gonna give.
Yes.
So this is Harbor Music. It's Instagram as well, and it's the @ Harbor Music FLA is technically the name. I'm getting some social media help, so this should help expand it even more.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but yeah, I love it.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
So that'll be in the show notes. A link to
Cool.
Clause 34695
Great.
app will be in the show notes. The TeePublic T-shirt store link will be in there. And we will see you next week with another guest. And if you need a house or you're getting rid of your house,
Exactly.
she doesn't just do music; she sells.
And you get a free lawyer brain out of music.
Oh, look at
for your
that!
realtor,
From
so-
Pinkerton Academy, by the way.
Woo, woo. Love it. Thank you,
Awesome.
Scott. This
Thank
was
you.
super fun.
All right, take care, guys.